So you recently wrote a book called Ethics-Based Policing, Solving the Use of Excessive Force. And I want to ask you, do we have an excessive force issue as a nation, or are you mainly seeing this in specific regions?
I can identify a region. I can identify all over the place as far as I can see. It's happened in too many places, even if it was just a few. It has to be solved.
You lay a plan out, and I'd love for you to touch on that without giving the whole book away.
So, in my research and experience, this is the issue. Virtually every department, the 1,800 police departments or 18,000 police departments we have across the nation, everyone has a code of conduct, general orders, policies and procedures, police manuals on ethics. This is what you will do when you're working. It's high up. Those documents mean nothing if the culture is different, and the culture is set by the sergeants and lieutenants. They are the last people to touch the mail. They are the last people to see officers when they leave roll call and get on the street. They are the ones that supervise them, guide them, give them advice, reward them, and discipline them. If the sergeants and lieutenants have not built an ethical culture based on what the leader says in the code of conduct and all this, it doesn't make any difference what it says if it's not being put into effect at the lowest level. Now, I've seen a lot of bad things. It was been a few decades ago, and it shocked me that a sergeant was on the scene, and there was a canine officer there with two homeless people. And the officer turns to the sergeant and said, "Can I turn the dog loose?" And the sergeant said, "Yeah." And there was a big suit behind that. I was dumbfounded, poleaxed, and set my hair on fire. Why would an officer ask a sergeant if he could unjustifiably turn the dog loose on homeless people if that behavior was not acceptable?
Right.
And it was acceptable because all the general orders and policies and procedures were not being enforced at the lowest level. So there's two prongs to this. The first prong is officers that are engaged in ethical conduct and behavior need to be rewarded, recognized, shown that that's the right thing to do, because everybody in the squad, section, platoon, or district or police department sees what's being done. Good people are being rewarded and recognized. Now, the second prong is people that don't follow the ethics policy of that department need to be held accountable. It's the sergeants and lieutenants' responsibility to make sure they're held accountable. So when an officer goes out there and uses excessive force and he's not called or questioned about it, that sends the message to everybody else. Well, that's tolerated.
Right.
That's not good. And so that's where the focus needs to be as far as ethical conduct for police officers. The sergeants and lieutenants have to be shown how important this is and how it affects everybody. That's the key.